There's a certain sound Soldier Field makes in August, not the roar of a crowd or the crack of pads, but a quieter, sharper noise. It's the sound of decisions slicing through the heart of a team before the season even begins. And right now, that sound has an edge to it, because somewhere between the lakefront breeze and the grind of training camp, the Bears might be staring down a decision that could change the very shape of their offensive line. Braxton Jones, the fifth-rounder who beat every odd, fought off every challenger, and planted himself at left tackle like an oak in the wind, could be wearing powder blue before this story's over. The Chargers, wounded and desperate after. Rashawn Slater's season snapped apart with a torn patellar tendon, aren't just looking for a Band-Aid. They're looking for salvation, and salvation has a price. Think about it. Jones didn't just fall into this spot. He was forged here, starting all 17 games as a rookie, earning his stripes, keeping blind sides clean when the rest of the roster was still finding its feet. He's been through injuries, a hamstring setback, a broken ankle, and each time, he fought his way back onto the field. That's not just talent. That's grit. That's Chicago. But the NFL doesn't run on sentiment. It runs on leverage, and the whispers are growing louder. The Chargers could dangle a day 2 pick for Jones, giving the Bears draft capital that could be the key to shoring up other needs. You can almost picture the scene in Los Angeles gym. Harbaugh pacing like a general after losing his left flank, muttering about next man up while his eyes scan the league for reinforcements. And in Chicago, the front office weighing the math. Jones is on a cheap rookie deal, but the competition for left tackle is fierce with Ozzie Trapelo and Kieran Amagaji breathing down his neck. Do you trade proven steadiness for a future asset? Or do you lock in your line to protect Caleb Williams at all costs? These are the kind of choices that define seasons. And here's where it gets dangerous, because once the idea of moving Jones is out there, the psychology changes. Every rep in camp becomes a showcase. Every minor slip-up becomes ammunition for those saying, we can afford to let him go. And if you're Jones, how do you block out that noise when you know a team across the country might already be picturing you in their huddle? For the Chargers, the calculus is simple. Keep Herbert upright. Keep the season alive. For the Bears, it's anything but. Move Jones, and you're trusting rookies and second years to guard the most valuable asset on the roster. Keep him, and you might be leaving a pick on the table that could fill another critical gap. The rivalry stakes aren't there like they are with Green Bay or Minnesota, but the ripple effects, those could stretch across conferences. Imagine the headlines if Jones anchors the Chargers line deep into the playoffs while the Bears struggle to keep Caleb clean. That's the kind of second-guessing that can haunt a GM's sleep. And if you think the fans won't notice, you've never been to Chicago in the middle of an offensive line debate. We remember every blown block, every clean pocket, every hit that leaves our QB slow to get up. And if you think this is just about X's and O's, you're missing the human drama. A player who clawed his way from obscurity, now caught between two futures and a front office with the weight of a city on its shoulders. The clock is ticking. The phones are buzzing. And somewhere, in the shadow of that lake wind, a decision is coming. If you're feeling that knot in your stomach right now, Bears Nation, you know exactly what's on the line. So hit that like button, strap in, and let's ride this wave. All the way to the truth. Because if Braxton Jones ends up in Los Angeles, this city's going to have to reckon with what we gave up. And why? This isn't just another roster move. It's a domino that could send shockwaves through the season, altering the very DNA of what we're trying to build. Let's start with the obvious. Jim Harbaugh isn't the kind of coach who lets a season slip without a fight. He's a grinder, a strategist, a man who's chewed through adversity and come out swinging every single time. You think he's going to sit back while Justin Herbert's blind side is being eaten alive by the AFC West pass rush? You think he's going to cross his fingers and hope the protection holds? Not a chance. He's going to come for Braxton Jones with the kind of urgency that only comes when your franchise QB's health and your playoff shot hang in the balance. And he won't blink at paying the price. Harbaugh's been here before. He knows that one clean pocket can be the difference between a playoff run and packing up in January. But here's the twist. The Bears aren't in a position to just fold to pressure. Not now. Not after the deliberate steps we've taken to rebuild this franchise from the ground up. The left tackle spot isn't just another position. It's the anchor, the foundation stone in protecting the most valuable asset we've had in decades, Caleb Williams. Trade Jones, and you better be damn sure Kieran Amagaji or Jay Tidlow can step in without missing a beat. Because all it takes is one free rusher coming off the edge in a must-win December game to change the season trajectory. In a heartbeat. That's not paranoia. That's the brutal math of the NFL. Ryan Poles is standing on a tightrope right now, with Lake Michigan winds whipping at his balance. On one side, the lure of a day 2 pick, the flexibility to plug other roster holes, the long-term vision of stacking talent and building a contender that can sustain for years. On the other side, the here-and-now urgency of protecting your rookie QB, giving him the clean pockets he needs to learn, to grow, to evolve into the kind of player who can stare down Lambeau in January without flinching. And every second that clock ticks down to the deadline, that rope sways a little more. Here's where it gets brutal. Football doesn't give you the luxury of hindsight. One wrong call, and the regret sets in before the season's even over. Imagine watching Jones thrive in powder blue, locking down Max Crosby and Chris Jones, while Herbert slices the fences like a surgeon. Imagine the headlines in L.A. The national pundits praising Harbaugh's genius for stealing a cornerstone tackle from Chicago. Now flip the coin. Picture December in Soldier Field. Caleb dropping back, the pocket caving in around him. The crowd groaning in unison. The commentators quietly wondering if the Bears made a mistake chasing draft capital over stability. And let's be real, the fan base won't be quiet about it. Some will scream that you have to protect Caleb at all costs, that trading Jones would be football malpractice. Others will argue that you can't pass on the chance to stack picks in a league where depth wins championships. And here's the truth. Both sides will have a point. Both sides will be wrong. Because in this league, there's no perfect choice. There are only consequences, and they last longer than the press conference where the decision gets announced. For Braxton Jones himself, this is more than just a transaction rumor. It's a test of focus. He's lining up every day in camp, knowing his future might be decided by whispers in boardrooms he's not invited into. That's a mental battle most fans can't see. It can eat at you, make every rep feel like a job interview, or it can sharpen you into steel, make you play with a chip on your shoulder, so big it rattles the defensive ends trying to get around you. Now picture 2 different Week 10s in Los Angeles. Chargers versus Chiefs, Herbert in shotgun, Jones holding the left side like a fortress, while his QB carves up the secondary. The crowd at Sophie roars, and the analysts talk about how Harbaugh fixed the protection. Meanwhile, in Chicago, that same week, Caleb takes the snap, scans the field, and before his second read, the pocket caves. Sack, drive over. The city exhales in frustration. That's the nightmare scenario. But maybe, just maybe, we get the other version. Jones stays. The line gels. Caleb starts dropping dimes like he's been in the league for a decade. The offense hums. We look back at the rumors as nothing more than a bullet dodged, a test we passed. That's the beauty and the cruelty of this league. Every decision is a coin flip, and you don't know whether it's heads or tails until it's way too late to change it. And this is where the front office earns their paycheck. Because when that phone rings and the offer's on the table, it's not just about the 2025 season. It's about the identity of the Chicago Bears going forward. Are we a team that cashes in valuable chips for future flexibility? Or are we the kind of team that locks down our cornerstone players and dares the league to beat us at full strength? So I'll leave you with this, Bears Nation. When the storm hits, do we batten down the hatches and hold on to the man who's been protecting the city's future since day one? Or do we push our chips in, take the draft capital, and trust we can build something even stronger? Smash that like if you're ready to ride this storm to the bitter end, because whatever happens next won't just define a season. It'll carve a new line into the long, scarred, and proud history of the Chicago Bears. And that line? It's going to be remembered.